Ohio State was the site of an extended sex abuse scandal. And for more, I'm joined by our senior writer and investigative reporter, John Wertheim. And John, through your reporting, what did you find out about what happened with Dr. Richard Strauss, who was really, abusing athletes there under the guise of physical examinations?
Yeah, I mean, this was a serial predator. You say the guise of physical examinations. That's absolutely correct. That will probably ring familiar. That was sort of the allegation lodged against Larry Nassar at Michigan State. And one of the ways I've attacked this story is why do we not know more about this Ohio State story? It involved more than 1,000 athletes, involved more than 1,000 instances. And we haven't heard nearly as much about this as we have Michigan State, certainly not Jerry Sandusky. What is it about this? And I essentially concluded is that the same factors that enabled Dr. Strauss to have this nearly 20-year reign of terror, those were the same reasons why maybe we haven't heard as much about this story. There's a different dynamic when it's male against male. The doctor has an awful lot of power over the athlete. These are athletes that were depending on Ohio State for a scholarship. A lot of times they're depending on the doctor in order to compete. And here we are, Dr. Strauss has been dead for more than 15 years now, but here we are in Ohio State, and certainly, hundreds and hundreds of athletes are still reckoning with this.
And there's another aspect you found through your reporting, and that was him using PEDs as leverage?
Dr. Strauss had expertise in performance-enhancing drugs. He was way ahead of the curve in terms of the power of anabolics and steroids and PEDs, and he published a number of academic journals, and we were told by multiple sources that this, in some cases anyway, had an element of the scandal, and that he was prescribing PEDs to athletes. It's easy to see how that would give him leverage. Someone I spoke to who was a former trainer in the athletic department in the late 80s said Dr. Strauss was essentially using athletes as lab rats. And some of this was sort of sexual laboratory, and some of this was a PED laboratory. So that also would explain certainly why coaches weren't reporting this properly. I mean, there were dozens and dozens of Ohio State coaches that later said they knew about this. Why did this persist for 20 years? And again, there isn't one answer here, but there is this element of PEDs that we reported as well.
It was referred to as an open secret, a secret no longer, and further exposed thanks to your work. John, appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Robin.